time went by, and actually I was seeking counseling, and Carilion offered a program last summer for healing through creative arts. And of all the things that I've been through, that has just rerouted me to a whole new path in life. I mean, I'm just surprised myself how profound this can be.
They're not the rich and famous. Their profit comes not from the thing they sell, but the good they do. Our nation has more than 1.5 million nonprofits that employ 1 out of 10 Americans, providing services that otherwise go unfulfilled, keeping our community connected when all else fails. But nonprofits often lack the tools to properly promote themselves, to inspire more donors and volunteers and clients to their cause. That's where I come in. I've been in the nonprofit world for nearly 20 years. I connect nonprofits with marketing professionals who donate their time and expertise so that, at the end of the day, these life-giving organizations can do more, do better, by creating more. That's right, buzz. Finding healing can often feel like a maze. For some sicknesses, psychological and emotional, the path to a cure can be equal parts science and art. Today's episode of Buzz focuses on the healing arts, part 3 of a 6-episode series we are producing in partnership with the City of Roanoke and the Roanoke Cultural Endowment on our region's arts and culture. And when it comes to the healing arts in Roanoke, there's no mysterious route on how it all started. The origin of this story has a straight path to one man, Dr. Robert L.A. Keeley.
Hi, I'm Dan Keeley. I'm the 10th child of the 15 Keeley children, and I'm the Director of Music and Worship at Our Lady of Nazareth. I've been in that position for 28 years.
I'm Nina Keeley Sweeney, and I am the last of Dr. Robert L.A. Keeley and Nina B. Keeley's 15 children, and I'm a family practitioner here in Roanoke, Virginia.
My dad's musical legacy, I remember as a child that he played a couple piano pieces that he learned from memory, and he always played public radio on Sunday morning, the Mormon Tabernacle Choir, so I always remember that.
So my father, Dr. Robert L.A. Keeley, is from the Roanoke area, moved back and helped start Jefferson Surgical Clinic, where he was a general and thoracic surgeon for many years.
The other thing was that, of course, us going to church, and he would always sing, so I witnessed that. And he would tell stories about his dad being the first music minister at Our Lady of Nazareth. So it's come full circle.
And he practiced at Roanoke Memorial Hospital. He was also involved in the residency programs for general surgery as a liaison with the University of Virginia. And later on in life worked for Carilion Roanoke Memorial Hospital, where he worked as a physician liaison between the nursing staff and other physicians.
The Healing Arts program, I believe, began with an initiative called Medicine and Muse. And my father was the first person to receive that award from Keeley. It was the start, I believe, of the Healing Arts program.
One of my favorite things that they have is the burden boat, and when you go into the hospital, you're anxious and you're nervous and you're worried about your loved one or whoever is there, and people will write their burdens into that boat. And then each year they take that to the healing garden, they take those burdens and they light them on fire. A lot of people have done that and commented about how they thought that was such a neat practice and how it was nice for them to unload that burden when they came into the hospital.
What would my dad think about what Healing Arts is doing today? I think he would be blown away. And every time I think about this, I really get emotional because it's people who are on the Healing Arts Board are so invested in that vision of healing with the arts. And I thank them constantly. I totally, every time we meet, I am so grateful for all the work that they do. So, and it touches me, obviously. So.
Patients frequently get into a semi-depression in their hospitalization, because they realize that after all they're human, they have to stop work. They may not be able to go back to work, but these activities give them an avenue that gives them an interest in continuing life with interest, and it really works.
In addition to the Burden Boat, the Keeley Healing Arts Program has hosted art shows featuring work by Carilion patients, physicians, nurses, and staff, painted meditational mandalas on a hospital crosswalk, created a healing garden and a labyrinth to inspire creativity and relaxation. And it has established an Artist in Residency program that currently engages Pedro Zelay, Artistic Director at Southwest Virginia Ballet, and Brian Hancock, a spoken word artist and founder of Soul Sessions Roanoke. Nowhere is their work more evident than Carilion's psychiatry and behavioral medicine.
My name is Carrie Decker. I am the lead adjunctive therapist here for inpatient psychiatry. I'm a certified recreational therapist, and I work with the music therapist, the rec therapist, and the art therapist here in inpatient psychiatry. So typically our patients are here for self-harm, or they're having a mental health crisis and they need support, whether it's to be at our facility to get their medications figured out or to just give them a safe pace to figure out where they're at. Our facility is really good at the whole person, so yes, medications are a part of it, but what other tools can we give them so when they discharge they can be successful? I think specifically for our patients, the way that these groups help them is giving them something that they might not have had exposure to before. So for example, for the youth and adolescent floor, most kids in that age range, your movement is like physical education. So it's not expressive, it's do what your PE teacher tells you, where this is more move your body in this way, how does that make you feel kind of a thing. And the way that Brian engages with the patients is very much, this is your time, I'm here for you, and he creates a very unique space for them to write poetry. They can draw if they don't want to write, but really how they're feeling and giving them that opportunity to express it in a very safe way.
One patient who has benefited from Carilion's Healing Arts program is Jane Tyminski, who had endured years of disappointing, even abusive relationships until she met the love of her life, Jerry. They were married 10 years until pancreatic cancer suddenly took him from her.
I like to think of that old whack-a-mole game. I've been known as a survivor. I can smile for the camera, put that strong exterior on. And I just, you stick your head out, you get bashed. You stick your head out, you get bashed. And this time, I just crumbled into a major pit of despair.
My name is Brian Harvest Black Hancock. I'm a spoken word artist. I'm the founder of Soul Sessions. I also am the lead performer for Harvest Black and Squad Soul. And been doing area events with Soul Sessions and doing music for about, I say probably over 20 years or so.
Well, I just kind of stayed in that familiar pit for a while. I have no children either, so, there's just no word that I can think of powerful enough to describe it. It's just plain hard.
I've been working with Carilion Healing Arts. They've given me a residency here, and I'm able to use creative writing prompts, music, poetry, and hip-hop as a pedagogy, and in different facets, working whether it be grief and loss, whether it be with children on the adolescent unit here at the Annex for Carilion, and just also with the doctors and nurses that have been on the front line of that egregious disease, COVID-19.
Time went by, and actually I was seeking counseling, and Carilion offered a program last summer for healing through creative arts. And of all the things that I've been through, that has just rerouted me to a whole new path in life. I'm just surprised myself how profound this can be.
I met Jane through, we were doing the Zoom project with grief and loss, and it's called The Art of Healing.
It's been incredible. I just feel like I was knocked. I was just kind of caught inside myself in that muck. And, and I feel like that this program opened that door to where I could finally come out to where the air was fresh and the skies were blue. I mean, it took a while. It's not an instant thing. You have to put in the work.
We had her write a poem about him, and I gave her an opportunity to say, we're not looking for like this thing where everybody is Shakespeare or something like that. We're saying, illustrate it from the heart of who that person was for you.
Were you taking medication during this time as well?
I was, and believe it or not, I've just recently became free from my medicine. This has been incredible for me. I'm on no medicine right now, so.
So truly it has healed.
Yes. I mean, my whole life has been challenging. I hate to admit this, but I've had a couple suicide attempts in my life. It's not been an easy journey.
It was a beautiful thing to see people just kind of stand up. And even myself, I lost my brother a few years ago, unfortunately, to suicide. And just meeting people halfway and being in the place of walking in vulnerability and walking in that honesty. Instead of saying, I'm the expert, I have all the answers, we're working to figure it out together.
But now
I feel like, I've overcame a lot in my life, and I feel like this is helping me to believe that I can do it again. I just feel like that I've been rescued out of that pit of despair. And, it's really seriously put me on a new path. I'm almost looking at things that happened to me, maybe as things that happened for me for such a time as this.
Since its founding, the Dr. Robert L.A. Keeley Healing Arts Program has increasingly infused itself throughout Carilion Clinic. At the Healing Arts Garden along the Roanoke River, I recently met Augustus Leon Freeman, who has worked for 20 years for Carilion, most recently as a field services supervisor.
I was visiting a family member at one of the local hospitals who was battling with cancer. In that visit, I heard this melodious music come from a patient's room, and everybody stepped out in the hallway. We walked toward the room, and there were representatives from the Roanoke Symphony Orchestra there. They had the upright harp and all of these other instruments, and they were playing melodious music, and that sparked my interest. Well, one day I was preparing to leave for lunch, and at that time they were painting the wall that we'll see later, and the young lady stopped me and asked me to help paint. I said, that's not my talent. I'm left-handed. I can't even read my own writing. I said, I'm a musician. I kind of shoved her off and walked on. And the short story is, a few weeks later, I was coming through. She said, I've been looking for you. We're going to have a Healing Arts Festival, and I want you to come and play. I see us as being three-part beings, spirit, soul, and body. I see it as spiritual healing of the mind, and certainly healing of the body as well.
While Carilion Clinic took the first step in the healing arts, other community organizations have now joined the journey. Shalene Powell leads the Roanoke Cultural Endowment, which is working to provide a long-range funding source for arts and cultural nonprofits. Together with the Roanoke Arts Commission, Shalene reached out to Bruce C. Bryan, a familiar face on Buzz, who owns Roanoke advertising agency 5 Points Creative, to develop branding that highlights the impact of the arts throughout all society.
What my team came up with and what we worked on and we're really proud to show is Arts Connect. And Arts Connect implies motion and forward thinking, and it's also the unifying voice of the arts. And what I love about it is the verb connects, and how that implies uniting people together and sharing messaging. And it gave us something that all the arts organizations, including the one I run, the Spot on Kirk, could use that to propel us forward.
Bruce, thank you so much for your team at 5 Points Creative for compiling and producing this Arts Connect branding. We will be able to use this as we move forward with this Buzz episode series. We're going to connect arts to education, economic development, and also social justice, and also here with this episode with healthy communities. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Bravo, Bruce. Like any nonprofit endeavor, the work requires funding. Both the Roanoke Cultural Endowment and Carillion's Healing Arts Program have found devoted supporters in Tom and Mary Evelyn Tealking, who live at Brandon Oaks Retirement Community.
I think that's a very hard question to answer. It's easier to maybe say the negative. I can't imagine life without the arts. I can't imagine not being able to go to a concert or listen to a CD or go to a museum. I mean, what would life be like if you couldn't do that? And I would like everybody else to be able to do that too. When I had open heart surgery, and I was in there for 5 days, and at that time there wasn't a picture anywhere on the walls. I don't know why I couldn't listen to music, but I couldn't. Or there was a TV, but that's not very healing. Most of what you see on TV is not very healing, and I think it increased my stress to some extent. And so the idea that there would be a healing arts program when that came to our notice was very interesting, and I thought very important.
Other residents at Brandon Oaks Retirement Community also banded together to incorporate healing arts into a program that brought in Roanoke Symphony Orchestra and Anderson Music Therapy to help residents suffering from memory loss.
So about 4 years ago, we started hearing about other orchestras, other ensembles, different groups using music in different ways to really help people with memory care, different therapeutics, heart, blood pressure, all kinds of things that have to do with wellness. So as we delve more into that idea, we developed this program, which is therapeutic, and it's live music with a larger group, 10 to 15 people, doing lots of different things. So we're designing programs that are all based on age, opportunity, and different kinds of genres of music to serve them, to help them.
All of our residents in this particular unit have cognitive impairment to some degree, so they don't have the ability to do things like they used to in the past. They might have memory loss or dexterity issues where they can't play or do things like they have, and so to be able to work with musicians now and to be engaged in music therapy is really a nice social activity that they can participate in that they may not be able to in other capacities.
The Wellness Arts program versus a concert, night and day. Because when you have active music making, where you're giving them props like scarves and sticks, egg shakers, things that they can interact non-verbally.
To snap your fingers with the beat, to tap your toe, to wave the scarves, to play with sticks, to be engaged with some interaction is firing the brain on all kinds of levels that we just take for granted. It's just kind of normal to go to a concert and enjoy it on all kinds of different situations. The folks that are engaged in this program are challenged to a certain degree, and so the answer is we're reawakening those connections.
And by the end of the session, our hope is that they will just be present in the moment, maybe their mood uplifted. So that's really our ultimate goal after each session.
We even have some residents that will visit with family members after one of our sessions because they become a little more verbal, a little more communication in their everyday life after one of our sessions. So it's exciting to see people move and wake up and have an opportunity to interact with others.
That I think it's time that we really understand all that's happening in the brain, all that's happening physiologically, and how connected our body and our mind. I think when we come to understand that, that's when we're gonna, as a whole, tap into more therapeutic programs like the wellness arts, like the programs that 5 Points is supporting, and our music therapy services.
So having worked in the long-term care industry and having been in other facilities, you don't see a partnership with a symphony organization and a long-term care organization very often. So to have this program for our long-term care residents is really nice to see, and to see the benefit that our residents have.
Anderson Music Therapy is housed at another Roanoke nonprofit, 5 Points Music Sanctuary, led by Tyler Godsey, who witnesses the healing power of music and sound not only for the families who visit the sanctuary, but within his own family as well.
One of our annual dinners, we had a performance from one of our music therapists and their client. And the lady was trapped in a chair, unavailable to express herself in many ways, but she got on the stage and she sang a song. And to see somebody that was trapped in a body have a point of expression that brought light emanating from that, not just in the smile, but in the eyes and the energy of everything. You watch right then and there how the power of sound can impact people in ways that we don't always think about.
My name is Whitney, and my daughter currently has music therapy sessions with Cassie here at Anderson Music Therapy. And I just noticed she has some attention problems in the classroom, which has brought about a lot of frustration for her, and maybe some behavior problems at home and at school.
When you see the parents come out of these sessions and then they go home and they find these points of connection that aren't just confined to a 1-hour session here, they serve as an outlet, a path toward a broader connection with their child when they go home. That in and of itself is a power that you can't even measure.
She's a lot calmer for me, a lot more focused, because we go back home, we do math. Math is her hardest subject. So when we go back home, she's able to sit down and focus calmly, and there's not a lot of, mother-daughter struggle there.
I have 2 children that are both born deaf. At the age of 11 months, we gave them cochlear implants, allowing us to celebrate the gift of sound. When I turned on my son's ears, he was still a baby. He leaned over, my wife leaned over, and the first words she says are, "I love you." And there's 1,000 times in my life, plus, I've heard these words. Never before had they hit me in that way. It was emotional, mental, physical, spiritual. For me, those 3 words, those 3 vibrations, I love you, they serve as a spark for everything we do.
And currently we do not give my daughter any sort of medication. We just hope that she can develop naturally right now and stay away from any medication and just do a holistic approach, which is one reason why I was so interested in music therapy.
The greatest gift in the world that's been given to me is this context, of which I think about something as simple as the words, "I love you." To be able to have a world in which I've created a space that reminds me of the importance of that, to help me figure out how to be a better man, a better community steward, a better professional, a better friend, a better dad. That's magic in and of itself.
In 2019, the Taubman Museum of Art joined the cause with a Healing Ceiling Tiles program that has invited hundreds of folks, from school kids to senior citizens, beginners to professionals, to paint some 450 ceiling tiles to date that now hang in Carilion Clinic patient rooms and hallways.
We've had a number of families, especially in the pediatric ward, write us and let us know of how meaningful it is and how that is assisted in their stay at the hospital, and has, as again, that inspiration and that calming, healing part of the arts. Part of this program is inspiring those that have created to continue to create. It's both if you're creating and giving back to the community and continuing to create for your own mindfulness and giving, but also those that of course are receiving at Carilion Clinic.
The meandering path we've taken this episode to explore Roanoke's healing arts leads us finally to Morningside Urban Farm. On Friday nights in summer and fall, Carilion Clinic hosts a community-wide event called Healing the Essential Soul, led by artist in residence Brian Hancock.
Dear Tom, you just keep going, and one day you're going on without me. So many questions. Do I reap the harvest, first sow seed? Take me where legacy lives in earshot to the heartbeat. See, often we look for heroes where grass grows under feet. Legends we seek burn, burst brighter, form galaxies, and even though we want them closes, it is God who oversees the tilling of a garden that feels so out of reach.
Underscoring the new Arts Connect branding, people from all walks of life, patients and providers, familiar faces, and newcomers alike are invited to this space to share music, movement, artwork, creative writing, and of course, poetry.
So if you have time, then just start from your beginning and take your time. I guess you do belong to me. Intertwined, so whatever we do together, prepare precisely. Precious are these moments, make it count. Something to see. See, I see you. Time. Just keep going on without me. And that's it.